It's not easy to be a man.
Someone dies by suicide in the UK every 90 minutes. 76% of these are male. 25 attempts for every death. Single biggest cause of death for men under the age of 45 is suicide. This crazy stat that people always talk about, the single biggest cause of death if you're under the age of 45.
It's not easy to be a man.
One Random Podcast, episode 2. If you're wondering where episode 1 is, episode 1 was blocked by YouTube. A little bit too real. We were probably talking about a few things that YouTube and Google, whoever powers that be, didn't want us talking about.
Straight banned.
We were doing a reaction video to Joe Rogan's conversation with Tucker Carlson regarding UPAs, or what was known as UFOs. Anyway, I'm Cypher.
I'm Trebel.
Okay, and today we're going to talk about, here on episode 2, a very serious topic, obviously one that's close to our heart. We're going to talk about men's mental health. I'm going to go straight into some statistics, Trebel, and just to open up the conversation. So these are some key ones that we're going to point out to you guys. Someone in the UK dies by suicide every 90 minutes. 76% of these people are male. 25 attempts for every death. Single leading cause of death for men under the age of 45 is suicide. I'm going to repeat that one again because that one was the scariest one for me. Single leading cause of death for men under 45 is suicide. Your thoughts?
It was unbelievable. When I first heard that statistic, I couldn't quite believe it.
Yeah.
Men under 45, main cause of death is suicide. Not road accidents, not violence or anything. It's violence on themselves in a sense.
Yeah.
And it was quite sad.
Not even heart-related illnesses. Which
Yeah,
you thought would be the one for men.
Illnesses or nothing like that.
Because of our diets and how we treat ourselves nowadays. You think something like that would be the main cause, or even cancer, but
nope.
It's not. It's suicide due to mental health.
What do you think is causing that? What do you think is causing that?
I'll go into my own little experience first, I suppose. I think it's interesting. I think it's only right that we talk about our own mental health a little bit, just to give an idea of kind of things we've been through. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to try and whiz through this. I'm not going to get too deep into it. If I went into every sort of detail, we'd be here for hours.
We've got time on other podcasts where we can go
into it and deeply touch into things later on down the line.
For sure.
But for me, I probably didn't grow up with the best domestic situation. Had a father who used to beat his mum. Old cliche sort of things. I remember as a kid, my dad trying to stab my mum in the kitchen and doing all sorts of ill stuff without going into too much detail. They later divorced. My mum was on her own, single mum, paying for the mortgage, working 2 jobs. I remember we had to go without a lot of things once, at that age when I was younger. I remember going to school with a hole in my shoe once, falling over, kids seeing it, pulling the sock out at the bottom of it because my mum couldn't afford to buy me a new pair of trainers till the end of the month. That kind of stuff. That I suppose that cliche stuff, I suppose if you want to call it that. Sadly, it didn't probably get much better, but we were happy kids. Don't get me wrong, I was a happy kid. Like, my mum worked hard and we went with that, but in the house, we were good. Yeah, I have an older sister who's 4 years older than me. Then my mum met someone. Things kind of changed. He was quite a manipulative individual. Took some physical abuse from him at times. My sister did as well. My mum was then introduced for the first time in her life to alcohol. My mum had her own mental issues from the stuff she went through with my dad. Also, she was raped by a Hindu priest that she used to follow as well. So you weren't just, with the introduction of alcohol to her life, you weren't just throwing the match in the fire. You're dipping it in gasoline and then throwing it into the fire, if that makes sense, and that exploded horribly for us as kids, to the point where my sister had enough. She had to leave home at 16 because she wanted to study and progress herself through her education. She couldn't do that at home with all the things that were going on. Left me on my own kind of thing.
How old were you at the time?
When she left, I think I was about 11 or 12. If we rewind back a little bit though, I remember my sister reached out to my dad. We hadn't spoken to my dad in years. And my dad was planning to take us in. Unfortunately, I was a little bit frightened to do that because my mum wasn't drinking at that time. Because I was so close to my mum, I was afraid to leave my mum because it's all you know.
Of course, yeah.
And because of the connection, yeah, well, you could say I was a bit of a mummy's boy, but I was. I didn't really know my dad at all. Only what I saw of him when I was a lot younger, when I was a pup. So that ended up, my sister was like, well, I'm not going if you're not coming with me. So naturally we stayed. But then later on, my sister, then it got too much and she had to leave, basically home, because the alcohol, the drunkenness, the abuse from physical abuse or bullying-ish behaviour from my mum's partner. He was very manipulative. You could tell he wanted to get rid of us. You could tell. Got way too much for my sister and she ended up leaving. Just bunging her stuff in front of the council saying I'm homeless. And then luckily there was a nice lady there who sorted her out and gave her a nice bed sit in a nice area kind of thing. And because she said, all I want to do is study. She goes, okay. She goes, you're going to promise me though, you're going to go and get your degree, yeah? And she didn't fail with that to deliver on that promise, if that makes sense. For me, it was a little bit harder because things got harder at home, as you can imagine. A lot of neglect. So my mum used to leave me at home months at a time sometimes because she was living with her boyfriend in his house or whatever. Sometimes I would be without food. You know, I'd have to borrow 50p off a mate. Like, give me 50p so I can go get a loaf of bread. I remember picking mould out of fucking bread just to toast it and eat around that kind of shit. I laugh at it now, yeah, but like back then that was serious shit, you know what I mean? But I stopped going to school. You know, at 13, started smoking weed, started drinking, and do you know what I mean? That was my life. Literally someone going nowhere fast. Then she moved back in with him. That made it even worse because now I'm dealing with the alcoholism. You're coming home every day and your mum is there drunk with a bottle of Bacardi telling you you're no good, should have killed you before you were born and all this sort of shit. And you think like, okay, it's not true that your mum's just saying it because she's drunk, but at the same time it does hurt. You know, it does, and it does have an effect on you. Still having to put up with his shit as well. I suppose if I fast forward it, you know, social services did used to get involved, but they would just rock up, have an appointment with you, never come back again. They don't give a shit. Let me put it that way. Social services don't give a shit. And then when I was 15, I think something happened at home, same usual thing, but I just had enough. It got to boiling point, so I ran out the house. Rang my sister up, she goes, right, come and stay with me tonight. So I went to my sister's and then told my sister what was going on. She goes, but you told me everything was all right. I go, yeah, but no one does anything. So what's the point of me? Social workers don't do shit. No one does shit. What are you going to do about it? That's how I was in that place. I was angry at the world and I was like, no one cares. Who gives a shit, right? Why should I give a shit? And then my sister said, right, you know what? You're not going home. What? You're not going home. You're staying here. Got on the phone to my year ahead, said, boom, she was great as well. She goes, why has he not told us? Blah, 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 blah. He's been telling everything's all right at home. And like, yeah, because he thinks no one's going to do anything because the social services came and they don't come back ever unless you kick off. And she goes, well, I'm going to kick off now then. She got off the phone and ripped them a new one and said, what are you doing about this situation? You lot should have been visiting every month or every few weeks to make sure he's all right. And you have not been doing it. Anyway, my sister refused to send me back home. She goes, I'm not doing it no matter what. Yeah, he's staying here. If I rewind a little bit again, when I was 13, I remember I actually asked social services to contact my dad because I wanted to go live with my dad because it was so bad. I was like, I just need to get the fuck out of here. You know, I can't be doing this anymore. I can't be here anymore. Do you know what I mean? And I remember social services spoke to my mum first, told her what my dad had said, and then he said, we need to talk to Cypher. And then when they got me on the phone, they said, sorry, but your dad said he can't take you in because his family won't accept you. My dad had remarried and the woman he'd married had kids from her previous marriage. And I remember just before all this happens when I was 15, my sister put some pressure on my dad to say, you need to take him in. Like, you're his dad. You've got to do your duty as a father. And I remember when he asked me, he said, who do you want to live with? Your sister or me? And I thought, well, you clearly don't want me to come live with you because why would you ask me that question? You would just be telling me, by the way, I'm contacted the solicitors, you're coming to live with me. In the next few months, you ain't going to be there anymore. I don't give a shit. And you don't have a say in it, son. That's it. You're coming to live with me. But he didn't, and I could tell by his voice he didn't want to take me in. So I was like, do you know what I mean? Like my sister, she was living in a council flat at that time. So is that like dirty little secret you keep hidden away and you just give it a bit of money and you hope it'll stay quiet over there? You know what I mean? Like crooked politicians.
Yeah.
How they work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if we rewind back to when I was 15, going back to what I was talking about,
Yeah, basically, like my year ahead said, right, well, he's not going home because his sister's refusing to let him go home. They then have a meeting with me and everything like that, and my sister, and they didn't really care. They thought, well, he's probably about 6 or 7 months away from turning 16. He'll be an adult. He can do what he wants. So sod it, he can stay with you, and left it at that. My sister got no benefits, no support in that financial point of view because guess what? He's turning 16 soon, so who cares? Anyway, that's how it ended up.
And at that time, what was the support for mental health? Because obviously,
Mental health wasn't even a thing.
Back in those years.
Yeah, mental health wasn't even a topic. No one even knew what mental health is. No one even knew what depression was. Yeah, but if we fast forward, we'll come back to that question. Stick a pin in it for now.
Okay.
Yeah, but going forward, obviously, my sister then got married when she was 19. She moved to Canada. So now I'm on my own again. So it was really hard for my sister because she was 19 herself, expected to be a parent. What did she know about being a parent or even a guardian? Yeah, so it's frustrating for her. You got this brother who's lost, who's angry, who doesn't give a shit, who's got no real direction. She did her best, and to be fair, she did a great job because what she did do was put me back in this situation where there's someone who cares now. Yeah, who's looking after you, but also gave me a bit more of that discipline and responsibility again. Like, Cypher, go empty the bins. Huh? You're the man, go empty the bins. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that kind of thing. I think when I was 18, like I came out, this is the next morning after I piss up with my mates, I thought, yo, you need to stop doing this. You can't keep blaming your past for what's going on and keep fucking up. At some point, you've just got to suck it up and actually start doing shit with your life. Even though I was in college, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And I went with a career. I'm not going to talk about companies I work for, who I currently work for. But I kind of got myself back on the straight and narrow. I built a career and stuff, and I've been in that career for 24 years. But I got myself back on track. And then obviously my sister got married, so now I'm living on my own. And then you get to the point of, I think it was about 27. And I was at physical peak. I was working out every day, lifting weights, doing all that stuff, eating right, sleeping right. I was getting 8-10 hours sleep at night. I would go to bed at 9-10 o'clock, get up automatically at 6 or 7. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Really good routine. And I don't know, I can't remember what it is, whether it was something I watched on TV, I think it was, and it was about social services and all that sort of stuff. And it just naturally, I digressed back into what had happened in the past, my trauma from my childhood trauma. And because I hadn't really dealt with it, I just moved on. The thoughts start coming back into your head. And I don't know how it happened. I just hit this wall and suddenly I'm feeling low about myself. I've suddenly gone from being this butch looking, this young man in his physical peak to, with a matter of month or two, losing all that muscle mass and all that sort of stuff and falling into this deep depression about it all. I can't lie, I wasn't really happy at work either, so that then threw a lot into it on top of it as well. And then I was like, oh, you know what? This went on for a few months. I'm not gonna lie, this went on for a few months, and I was literally sleeping 45 minutes a night, if that. And that's if you know anything about sleep, that is the early stage of sleep. So you're really not still asleep, so you haven't really slept. I wasn't eating like I was eating shit, and I couldn't even eat that shit. I did take a few bites, and it was that kind of feeling. It was a real low feeling. Didn't go to a doctor, didn't take a pill, never been to a counsellor, even to this day. Yeah, I've just thought every morning I would get up, sit down at the edge of my bed for 15-20 minutes and look at the bed, look at the front door, because the front door was in front of my flat bedroom. My bedroom was in front of my front door, if that makes sense. And you'd be like, just sit there looking at the bed, looking at the front door, looking at the bed, looking at the front door, looking at the bed, looking at the front door. And that's that one voice saying, oh, go on, curl up back into bed, call in sick today. And then there's that other voice that's coming on saying, motherfucker, get the fuck up, let's do this. Yeah, you time to start punching back, get up. And I would always still get up, grudgingly get up, but get up, do my thing, get into work, get through my day, come home, same thing. And it was repetitive, every morning, every day, same thing. And then it was really weird. I started getting these, I went to visit I thought, let me take a holiday, let me go see the family, sister, nephew, brother-in-law. And I thought, let's get away a little bit for a couple of weeks. Did that for I love going out to see my sister in Canada and stuff like that. So why not? And then I started getting pains in my testicles. Right, and people are wondering where this is going, right? So have the holiday, come back, and I think, shit, man, this pain is getting worse. Like it's been a good few weeks now. Like, I need to go see a doctor. Go see the doctor. Not that he was any good. Couldn't figure it out. Referred me, said in December, you'll be seen by a urologist or whatever. For now, go and get yourself tested for STDs and all that sort of shit. Okay, cool. Tick off everything that you need to
check
tick off.
everything, yeah.
I also then decided to find a new job. Found a new job. Started feeling better about myself a little bit. Still dealing with my head, my trauma and all the stuff that from the past. Thought, you know what, let's get back into the workouts. Start pushing back into the workouts. I'm starting to feel better, a little bit better about myself. And then February 2012, finally, after 6 months, after all this rigorous testing West Middlesex Hospital did for me, useless bunch, finally sit me down and tell me, hey, you've got testicular cancer. We need to remove your left testicle. I just sat there like, what? I went blank. Anyone who ever watched Charlie Brown, and it was an old cartoon back in the day, an American cartoon, when Charlie Brown and the kids would talk, you would hear them speak clear English. When an adult would speak, would be like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's what it sounded like when the doctor was talking to me. And all I remember, 5, maybe 10 minutes later, I don't know how long it was, he turned around and said to me, would that be all right with you? And I'd be like, what would be all right with me? A prosthesis? I go, what do you mean? Like, what, to replace the testicle you're taking out? Yeah. I go, what does that do? Just make it feel normal? And he goes, yeah, pretty much. I was like, okay. Gave me all my letters, my documentation, walked outside, stepped outside, lit up a cigarette and thought, what the fuck has just happened?
What the fuck, innit?
So 4 weeks later, because they had to act quickly because it was growing, the tumour in my left testicle, they had to get it out quick. So they took it out. Took about 5.5 weeks off work after that. Should have taken longer, but I was lying in bed thinking to myself, like, if I don't get up now, I'm never going to get up. So I made a conscious decision to get up and go back to work. I thought, that voice came back and said, you need to get the fuck up now. Like, that's why you ain't getting up. It's time to fight back. Yeah, you get tired of doing that, but I had to. Went back to work, hobbling on one leg, drowned myself in work, trying to get myself focused and into things, still dealing with shit as well at the same time. Had to regularly go and see the hospital, the specialist for every month, because I still had what were called Leydig cell lesions on my right testicles. And if you know, we're going to depth into testicular cancer later on, but basically a tumor could form in there, so they had to still keep an eye on my remaining testicle.
Did they give any reason why the testicular cancer came about?
No, because they actually don't know what causes it as
it's just random.
As normal. They still haven't figured out what causes testicular cancer because they don't understand it.
It's crazy.
It's like IBS. They don't understand what causes it. They will tell you, we don't know what really causes. We think this contributes to it. Yeah, I was a smoker, but it's just as common in non-smokers as it is in actual smokers. So again, you can't put it down to just that. But then I remember, then I'm trying to come back here, trying to kick back, trying to sort myself out, trying to get back into my workouts, trying to give myself focus again, even though I've got these battles going on in my head. And I'm getting there. And then 9 months later, guess what? Pain in the other testicle starts. And I'm like, oh shit, please don't do this to me now. Because I'm starting to get into a bit of a place now. Yeah, I'm still having these battles, but I'm getting to routine, I'm working out. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then go back to the specialist and say, look, I need an appointment straight away. Tell him what's happening. He says, okay, let's run tests, run a whole load of tests on me. The pain is getting worse over these couple of weeks while they're testing me. And then they turn around and say to me, we can't find anything. There's no tumor growing in any of the Leydig cells. And I said, okay, cool. What do we do now? Because this really hurts. He goes, well, that's up to you now. Because the first time I had to make the decision because the hospital that you were dealing with taking too long about it. So I made the decision, get it out, because there was a tumor. There isn't a tumor here. So it's really your decision now what you want to do. Do you want to keep it and keep going and deal with this? Or do you want to have it removed? And I was like,
what kind of pain was it?
On a scale to 1 to 10, 10.
10 out of 10 pain. So it just floors
It
you.
would wake me up in the middle of the night.
Which is like a throbbing, sharp pain.
Yeah, it woke me up in the middle of the night.
But there was no tumor on it.
No.
Wow. And they couldn't know why either.
Yeah, and again, they don't have really answers to it, which is weird. So I turned around and said to them, I said, okay, so this potentially there's nothing growing in there right now, but something could form, right? And they go, yeah. And they go, and that could potentially lead to it spreading to the rest of other parts of my body, right? So yeah, I said, look, I'm tired of this, man. It's always in the back of my head. Probably didn't really think it through properly, but at that time I just thought, I'm tired of this. Like, it's always in the back of my head. I'm always having to worry about it. I'm coming to see you guys every 2 months now. Rigorous testing all the time. Just remove the shit. Just take it out. They tried to say, oh, do you want us to try and extract some sperm and all that stuff so you could freeze it? And I said, well, I wasn't fertile anyway, because the first time it happened and I went for a fertility test, they said I wasn't fertile anymore. And they said it was probably because of the cancer, come back in 12 to 18 months. And here we are, near enough 9 months, 10 months later, it's not going to have healed probably, and there's pain as well. So look, I'm all right about it. If you guys can take something out, fine if you want. If not, just remove the damn thing. That was a hard decision. I know that sounded quite easy the way I said it, but it wasn't. That was a hard decision for me to make. But then there's more that comes with it. So now it's removed. So naturally, but this time around is probably a little bit easier for me because I've already had one experience of it. So this time I know what's coming with it, like the mental battles and all the stuff. I understand it. And then I remember then the next stage of that was that they had to give me hormonal replacement treatment. So basically I have to have a shot of testosterone every 16 weeks because obviously bulk of your testosterone is produced through your testicles, and now I haven't got those anymore. So you do get a secreted amount from your adrenal gland, but it's not enough for a man. Yeah, so now I have to have that every 16 weeks. And I remember my first appointment with the endocrinologist turned around and said to me, she was examining me physically. And she goes, oh, did you work out? I go, well, I haven't for about a while because obviously I've just had the surgery and stuff, but I'm planning to get back into it. I go, but yeah, I do. And she goes, okay. And I go, why'd you ask that? And she said, you're going to notice the difference. And I was like, what do you mean? And then I'll explain it to you. When you work out, your body will naturally produce more testosterone because you require it. My body's now like a car engine. Yeah. When the brain sends a signal to the testicles, oh, produce more testosterone, he's working out, he needs more juice. There's no reply because, oh, the brain says, oh yeah, I forgot you guys aren't there anymore.
Jeez.
Yeah. So naturally now I have to go through what's injected into me, and I have to have that topped up every 16 weeks. And
how long did that go on?
There's a loads for the rest of my life.
You still on
testosterone? For the rest of my life till the day I die, I have to be on it.
Do you go to the hospital for that?
Because there's a lot of things because they check your bone density. I didn't realise how important testosterone. We just think it's for sex and things like that.
Nah,
it's not.
It's massive.
It's for bone growth and bone strength, hemoglobin, producing red blood cells, and all these other things that it does for you. There's loads of things it does for you, testosterone. So you have to have it. It's not just about facial hair and being able to reproduce and all that sort of stuff and have sex and all that sort of stuff, erectile erections and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of things testosterone does for our body. So now, hence why now I probably find it a bit harder to work out, because when I get into it, I'm like, and now I'm going on willpower really to push myself to work, to do. Like, I haven't worked out for ages, we already had that conversation, but it was hard for me. Other things came along with it. I developed IBS, varicose veins, hypersensitivity with my skin. I can only wear cotton now. You've talked about this offline. You're like, what? What kind of shit is that? I've never heard that before. I never heard of it either. Because when I got diagnosed originally, they obviously, when I had the first surgery, they turned around and said to me that they have to do the checkup on you, the medical checkup on you. Are you fit for surgery kind of thing, yeah? Can you take the anesthetic and all that sort of stuff? And they said, wow, you're really fit. And I was like, yeah, apart from one thing, which was my testicle, which has cancer now. Do you know what I mean? So I've gone from being that guy to a guy now with multiple other little medical problems, which are a hindrance to a degree, and I have to overcome it on a daily basis. But not only that, I don't produce natural testosterone. So when I work out, it's just not there sometimes, and you've got to push through it. And I do want to get back into my weights, but I'm someone who's gone through religiously being a workout king and loves doing it to now someone who feels like, who could struggle with it sometimes. But I suppose also there's that mental battle around it as well. But it's been hard, man. Like, it's not easy. I'm 41 now. So from age 29 when I first got diagnosed to now, it's been another battle and another journey that I've got to deal with. I'm going to be open and honest. Erectile dysfunction does come with it. It's not that I can't get erections. It's a mind fuck with the amount of things that I've dealt with, because there's been so much focus down there that you question it. And we'll talk a bit more about this in the next topic, in the next episode.
Yeah,
I don't want to jump the gun here, because I kind of want to come back to this point about erectile dysfunction, and it's quite normal. And I'm open about it. I'm not ashamed about it, because what's there to be ashamed for? Look, I'm still here. I've pushed through it.
We're definitely going to talk about that one.
I've driven through it. Do you know what I mean? Yes, I still have my mental battles every single day. Yes, sometimes I want to fucking give up. But you know what? Most days I want to get up. I get up for work and I'm thinking, fuck this. I want to go back into bed. I'm calling it sick. And like, the fuck you are. Let's go. Get up. It might take me 45 minutes, an hour to get going, but I will walk out that door. I will jump in have that cold shower for 10, 15 minutes, get ready, say my little prayer. I have my faith in God. It's probably deeper than it's ever been, at this age. And I walk out that door. And sometimes I stand at the door and I'll do breathing exercises before I leave the door, just to calm myself down a little bit, and then go, you got no choice. You have to face into this. And my mindset around that is, the reason I'm like that, and then maybe some men aren't, is because I suppose I've understood one thing. Society doesn't give a shit about my fucking problems. I'm a man, suck it up, get on with your shit. That's how they see it. No one wants to see a man blubbering like a little baby.
But is that the right thing, though?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm giving you why. I'm just breaking it down for you. My thought process, is that no one gives a shit. Yeah, they might sit with you at work or whatever and listen to you, but really, they're listening to you and they're like, oh, okay. And when they walk off, who gives a shit? Not my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, get on with your job. People don't give a shit.
No.
Yeah, you're a number. You're not a human being, right? The world doesn't give a shit. Society doesn't give a shit. Yeah, I understand that already, that no one's going to give a shit. I have to do this myself. Yeah, I don't rely on doctors. I don't rely, because I don't want to get lost in that world and taking a pill and taking medication. I've said we've had deep conversations offline about this, where we talk about medication for mental health. I feel like someone like me shouldn't have medication, because it's a form of trauma that it's a citizen type of form of trauma, a life sort. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I need to just push through it. I've always said, though, people like veterans who have severe PTSD. I know you disagree, because we got heated about it last time, didn't we?
But I will like to come back to that.
No, of course.
I had thought about it.
I've had a thought about it too, because I watched more detail. Because we all talk about Craig Harrison last time offline, and then I've watched more of him to kind of understand him a little bit more. But I seriously believe that if you suffer from some sort of severe PTSD, like military PTSD, and you can't control it, or you can't find a way to control it, or find a way to focus yourself, and you need a little bit of medication just to bring you down a notch, because you're in a place where you could be extremely violent now and harmful to people, then maybe you need to take something to take the edge off it. I'm not saying it's the answer. I just feel in that situation, if you're having a bad day and you're someone who's a veteran, who's having night terrors and sorts of things, we're not going to get deep to it.
Yeah, we'll come back onto that one.
But that's another conversation for sure. That's the sort of person that might need it, and you'll disagree, I know, with that. But I think the everyday person like me, and I've just told you my story, is that no, the answer is not medication. Fuck no. I'm not getting onto that shit. I'm not taking medication. I've not gone for therapy. Yeah, I know what I have to do. I have to get control of my mind, and I still have not achieved that, because I want to get back to that man who used to work out regularly, sleep well, eat well, do you know what I mean? And get my focus back, so I can start doing shit and not worry about every little thing that's going to happen in my life. It's like, I've got to the point now where I have anxiety as well. And when I get really stressed out, my body will start hurting on my left side, and I think I'm having a fucking heart attack, and I'm not. Because I've had my heart checked out, and they've told me, you're good. This was 2 years ago. I went recently again last October, because I thought I was having another heart attack. They said, you're good, go home. And they just looked at me and had to say, like, might be anxiety. And when I had a follow-up with the doctor, the nurse at the doctor, she goes, oh, do you feel like you're suffering from anxiety? I go, I do suffer from anxiety. And I thought, you're not putting me on pills, fuck off. And she goes, oh, there's ways that we can help you with that. I go, yeah, no, I understand. If I want to explore those options, I will. Yeah, but I kind of want to
So wait, did they give you a diagnosis of what causes the anxiety?
No, because I didn't go deep into the conversation because I don't want to entertain their bullshit. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
fair
wrong. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't want to because I know where it's going to go. You're going to make me feel worse, not better. Yeah, there's a set of weights sitting on the floor. Right? I'm better off fucking smashing those out than talking to you. And I know, and I'm big on exercise does help. I just got to get my mind right to get back into it all. That's the short version.
Have you looked into it?
That's the short version. I don't want to take too much
yourself on what causes your anxiety? What caused your anxiety?
I think the more and more that's happened, there's constant battling. You naturally start turning into someone negative thoughts. You naturally think, well, fucking all this negative shit's already happened to me. Fuck me. You're now focusing on things that haven't even happened. Does that make sense? It's like dreading to go to work because you think you're gonna have a bad day, and then going to work most of the times I'll come back and I go, oh, that wasn't too bad. Do you get what I mean? And that's why I'm big on, you've got to face into it. You can't shy away from it. Like, you can't hide away. You can't mask it with drugs. You know, you've got to take it on, full on, and you've got to be able to say, right, I've got to at least win the battles every day. And the big battle to win every day, I have to get up. I have to have that cold shower. I've got to get changed. I've got to say my prayers, and then I've got to get out that door. Regardless, if I have a shit day for the rest of the day, absolute shit, it doesn't matter. I won the day because guess what? I'd faced it. So I still win. Regardless of whether I had a bad day or not, I still won. If I don't do that bit, I just pile up the L's after that. L after L after L, and then the next day I don't want to do it. Then the next day, and this is where people get to that, right? They go, oh, just today I'll take off. And they take it off, and then they sit at home stewing over to how they're feeling. Then they get up the next morning and they go, oh, okay, I'll take another day off. And now it becomes a vicious cycle now where you're just taking day off after day off.
Because they've convinced their brain that it's okay to quit.
Yeah, and I still do that. I still quit at things, but I don't quit at getting up and trying.
As in quitting the day.
I might quit during the day.
Yeah, but you still made it out.
But I made it out the door,
Yeah.
and I didn't quit at the attempt of the day. Do you understand? So as far as I'm concerned, I won. But I think when it starts getting to that cycle where you just every day now suddenly 2 weeks have gone past or 7 days have gone past, you're ringing your GP signing you off, putting you on pills, blah, blah, blah. Now 3 weeks have gone past and you're still off work. Do you know what I mean? You've now, if you do that, so when people say to themselves, they've got mental health problems, I'll just take today off. No, big mistake. You need to get up and go.
But some people might be listening saying, well, that's too easy to say, because if they're going through something really paralyzing in a sense, to just say, oh, you just got to get up and go, they might feel that's a bit insensitive, even though I completely agree. That is probably the challenge of it.
You can say that's insensitive, but you're talking to a guy. I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But you're listening to a man right now who just told you his story.
Yeah.
Been through a whole load of shit all the way through his life since he was a kid. Struggle after struggle, battle after battle. And he's telling you still need to get up and face the day. You can't turn around and say to me, oh, that's insensitive to you. You don't know what I'm feeling. I do know what you're feeling because I've been through it. I'm going through it right now. I go through it every day. And I choose to get up and still go. I can't hide from these things. The world doesn't stop spinning because you have problems.
World doesn't spin.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The world doesn't stop spinning because you have problems.
Of course.
Yeah. The world,
keeps going.
It keeps going. Yeah. People's lives don't stop because you've got a problem. They carry on with their lives. You know, and like I said, no one gives a shit. You need to, and I'm not saying that's the wrong approach, but no one gives a shit, right? My closest friends, who I know give a shit, yeah, would find it hard to make time for me to listen to me and talk to me and check in with me, say, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? Blah blah blah. But remember, they've got their own battles. They've got their own mental health issues they've got to get through, right? Is it to say it's as fair as me? No, but as men, we have to face certain things throughout the day. In our lives and in our day-to-day lives, and we're all dealing with something, even at a small level. Some might have a real extreme problem, and some people may have a lower level issue, but there's still mental health issues. There's still blockers that you have to get through a battle for a man every day. Because every time you step out of the door, I agree with what Andrew Tate says, a man's at war. Do you get what I mean? You're at war. So yeah, I can understand what that person might say. Well, you're being insensitive. Well, only if I didn't understand what you were going through am I being insensitive. I understand what you're going through, yeah, and I'm not being insensitive. I'm telling you need to get up. Because just lying around in bed and calling in
not
sick
being-
is not the fucking answer.
No, you gotta face
can't-
it.
You got to face it. You can't avoid it. You know, even some of these guys, we'll go into it a little bit deeper at some other point, but these military guys with PTSD, I agree with what you said. They have to face into it. And I do believe they do face into it, but I feel like they're like that extreme thing over here where they do need to take a pill sometimes to calm themselves down because they've not worked out that way how to handle that yet. So in that situation where they could be completely extremely dangerous from a physical point of view, maybe they need to just chill them out a little bit. Like the problem's still there, they can still probably feel it, but it just takes them from a 10 down to a 6. Do you know what I mean? Of rage. But the normal person out there who's saying to me right now, who's saying what you just expressed, which was, oh, you know, you don't know what I'm going through, you know, that's insensitive to you. So, okay, I might not know your story, but I understand the emotions and the feelings that go with that story, even though I don't know it because I've been through it. Yeah, and at some point, you've got to say, okay, just got to keep fighting. Yeah, I've not fully worked it out. I've not fully mastered it. I can't say I have, but I also know what I have to do. I need to get my diet better. Yeah, I know I need to get that exercise in. Yeah, I need to start sleeping better. You know, I need to find better coping measures. I have coping measures, but I'm not using them consistently enough. I need to start breathing, doing more breathing exercises, getting that in, because you will be surprised how helpful that shit is to you.
It's the best.
Yeah, sometimes I just lay on my back on the bed, right, with my knees up, and I just do stomach breathing. So you're breathing into your stomach rather than into your chest. Yeah, and sometimes like even when I work, when I'm stressed, I'll go into a quiet corner and I'll do it. Like, I feel a little bit high, like I feel a bit lightheaded. I think, oh, okay, I feel a bit better. Do you know what I mean? You got to do it sometimes. You know, I spread my holidays out well when at work, when I'm taking time off work, so I can have that break every so often. You know, there's things you got to do. You know, and can we hand on heart say that we all do that? There's some people out there who are really great at it and manage their mental health really well because they follow those rules. And those directions. I'm probably not as good as it and I need to get better at it. But then if you're that person saying that I'm being insensitive to you right now, are you doing that? Because I guarantee you probably aren't.
I think that's what it comes down to. I think, you know, not to discredit anybody's mental health, but I do feel like a lot of people need to take more responsibility for themselves. I think, or I feel at least, laziness, whether that be because society is indoctrinating us to make us lazy, or whether that's just, you know, inherent in them, but I think we're just a bit lazy to deal with our own problems. As you said, if you just started to exercise, read a book, do a cold shower, do some breathing exercises, stuff that don't even cost you money. If you're doing all of those and you still feel really shit, then, you know, there's other things that you can look into. But I think for the majority of people, just even covering those things I've just mentioned will help a lot. But the reality is most people don't even do that.
This is the thing, I guarantee you, I know for a fact, like I told you, back in my 20s, before I got hit with the depression and even the cancer and stuff like that, right, when I was at my physical peak, I know full well I felt great after a fucking workout, after work. You go to work, yeah, I'm not big on morning workouts, I'm big at end of day workouts, because at the end of the day is when you're, yeah, you've taken on, I say, yeah, you can start your day off like that. Some people are morning people, morning workout people, and want to start their day off that way. I'm big on end of day workouts because being a stressful day, now I'm going to come out and I'm going to fucking unleash it on the weights. Do you get what I mean? That's why I love weights, yeah. And I don't like these rubber weights, I like iron weights, yeah, all right? Cast iron. So clang, 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 I hear it, yeah. I'm letting that aggression out, you know what I mean? And it's a good way of letting that aggression out. And you feel better afterwards. You think, de-stress there. And then go and take a cold shower. Make you a healthy meal for yourself. You know, maybe watch a bit of TV, do a bit of reading, go to bed early. And that's the routine I know I need to get back into. That routine I found in my mid-20s. But people straight away to the doctors, do you know what I mean? Go straight to the doctors, oh, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, fill out that form that they give you and all this sort of stuff. And suddenly, you know, you're seeing a counsellor and then the counsellor says, oh, well, let's give you a bit of medication. And it just spirals out of control. And then you think, then you get convinced you've got a disease that's not curable.
And the counsellor doesn't help. They're getting paid £100 an hour to encourage your problem in a sense.
Yeah. But you're getting, do you know what I mean? Now you suddenly convince yourself you've got a disease.
Yeah.
Is it a disease? No, it's not curable, it's fixable, is what I like to say. You've got a mental health issue. There are ways to go about trying to sort it out. You just got to make it happen. Yeah, all right. And we've talked about some already, working out, all that, eating, living a good life, healthy life. Yeah, if you do all of those things, and then, like you said, then you turn around and say, oh, I'm still struggling, I'm still suffering. Okay, maybe then you need to go and see a counsellor. Maybe you need to do something like, or maybe you need to look at something like, oh, maybe I'll go and do yoga.
Sure, or even just some soul searching.
Not even like go to your doctor. Maybe you might think, okay, maybe try something else. Maybe go to yoga. You know what I mean? Group yoga, other people, doing your breathing, get a bit social. Maybe I won't work out at home for money. Maybe I'll go and join a gym, you know, and get to know some people in a gym. You know, build. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
These sort of things you can do. There's like a whole list of things you could do before you go and see your doctor and say, I'm having these dark thoughts or whatever. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like the everyday person, there's plenty you should be doing and you don't. You go straight to your GP. What winds me up is I feel like a lot of cases of mental health are encouraged and exacerbated in the wrong way, because people need to understand the difference between stress and feeling anxious, stress and having a mental health issue. Yeah. If you're stressed out, all you need to do is you don't even have to work out, right? So we'll be talking about exercises, right? You don't have to do weights. You have to do none of that. Yeah. Come home. Yeah. Take a shower. Yeah. Don't eat anything. Yeah. Go take a walk. Go to your park. Just walk around for 45 minutes to an hour.
Is very, very important.
Take it all in. Winter or whatever. Just take it in. Maybe sit down on the bench for a second, just have a good look, breathe a little bit. No music. And this is what I hate. Don't put music in your ear when you're doing this. Just walk around, take in the sounds. Do you know what I mean? Come back. Oh, that felt good. Felt like I escaped for an hour from my world. Switch off your brain and just escape. And that's exercise in itself. You've done something. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, of course.
But like, there's people out there who get stressed and then they talk to their friend, oh, you sound like you got anxiety, go speak to your doctor, oh my God. Then they go speak to their doctor and the doctor goes, oh, very anxious, maybe we'll get a counsellor for you. But actually all you had was a stressful week or 2 weeks, or you've had a stressful time at work. But actually, in actual fact, what you should have just done was done something like go for a walk, have a bit of exercise, whatever it is, de-stress, go out with your friends, whatever it is, to kind of de-stress. And once you've done that, you feel fine. But then that can grow out of control as well. Now suddenly something that was stress is now manifested itself into, and you've been convinced now it's anxiety because you've been talking to people and a doctor and your friends.
And they're confirming it for you.
And now suddenly you've got a mental health issue. And now you're chucking pills at it, which you didn't need to because you've been misdiagnosed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now the medication is making you feel worse because now you're addicted to it because it gives you that high in the morning and that keeps you going for the next 8 hours, and then you come on alone and you think, oh shit, I need to take the next pill. Whee, I'm happy again. It's false happiness. So that I don't agree with as well. So man, I've been talking about, I haven't let you get in.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're talking about some serious stuff and I agree with all of it. My story, at least, again, it sounds cliche. Single mother household, had an older brother. Father left when I think they got divorced when I was, started getting rocky when I was only about 3 or 4. I think by the time I was 7, I stopped seeing him completely. I remember there was like a court order where we had to still see him every Sunday. That didn't last very long. But at the same time, that was such a common story, especially in the early 2000s, this idea of single mother households. I didn't feel like it was, something so unique where there was people who had way worse situations. And as I told you earlier, when in my music, for example, in hip hop, a lot of rappers have this whole single mum situation. So I could kind of relate that I wasn't the only one in this world. But that did take a toll on me, I think, growing up. You don't realize how much a father figure is very important in your life, and not having that, how that affected me, how that made me more maybe needy, needing attention, getting that love from somewhere to fill that void. Through school, again, just that, I guess, that emotional insecurity, how that came across, whether that was attention seeking from classmates, feeling overly vulnerable with my friends, and then that spiraling into eventually breaking apart. Fast forward again, and my innate addictive personality kind of picked up bad habits, including, you know, drug addictions and other sorts of addictions, which we're going to cover in maybe the next topic. And that's something that I'm still battling today. But in the last maybe 5 years or so, I definitely have picked up more positive habits. I have definitely done a bit more soul searching, a bit more of a spiritual awakening, as you know, stuff that we're going to talk about in future episodes about how the world's going and how society's working and how it's a spiritual battle, as you know, what you said on the Cypher talks on your little rant, where you're talking about it's almost like a spiritual war going on at the moment. So I do see it from that perspective, where it's kind of allowed me to process some of these mental health situations, understanding that it has to be dealt with on my own. I have to do this. I have to do the work myself. But you know, growing up, there was hard times, but there was always good times as well. And I'm now in a position where I've learned a lot, and I'm hoping through the conversations we're having and through the people I meet that I'm learning and I'm able to share some experience and some knowledge as well. But yeah, that's my story a little bit.
Yeah, well, because remember we talked offline, and I remember you talked about, obviously, I think I kind of like analysed it for you as well a little bit when you were breaking it down. I think you very much suffered from rejection from your dad, which you then went on to become like this, I suppose what people saw you as a nuisance in school, because you were attention seeking and stuff like that. You then stepped into the real world because you didn't want to do further education.
Didn't want to go uni, no.
But you absolutely hated being in those apprenticeships because now you weren't the centre of the attention and you had to behave in a certain way, which kind of led you down other routes of addiction and stuff like that, or taking certain drugs and stuff like that, let's be honest. But yeah, I think a father is a massive, but it has to be the right father, because some guys do have fathers in their life and they're not the right people, or they're not teaching them the right stuff, or they're not teaching them at all. Doesn't mean they're being abusive or neglective, they're just not teaching them, you know? And I think a father's role is important. I suppose me being Asian, I'm British Indian, so in the Asian community, back then especially, there weren't many single mums on the road. Do you know what I mean? In the neighbourhood. So, and I remember there were times like where Asian kids could be quite mean. They could pick on you and say, you ain't got a dad and all this sort of shit. And that also plays a part. And you would always get attached to other males, do you know what I mean? Like even older cousins and stuff like that, because you're looking for that. Yeah, and you can never find it. I was lucky enough never to get involved. And all the guys I used to play football with after school were all older than me. So again, you're looking for that. The good thing was, for me, I played football. I did go down the wrong route at some point, don't get me wrong, but I feel the guys that I played with would have been seen as nerds and stuff like that at school. But so I've found that they're older guys, but I'm doing something positive. I'm playing football, right? But I could have easily gone that route and started hanging out with the wrong older guys, and now suddenly I'm doing the wrong thing, which you'll see a lot with all these gangs and all these kids who are involved in knife crimes and all that sort of stuff and involved in gangs. That's what they're looking. They're coming from single parent households, and they're looking for that father figure, that big brother figure, that make me feel like I'm family, please. Make me think like you care about me. But
that's what gang culture is, isn't it?
But actually you're being manipulated into doing the wrong kind of thing. Yeah. So I think this is like, we've touched on a lot there, but like societal pressures as well. Like, what is a man? Yeah, for me, a man is first thing is his job is to protect his family, protect his loved ones, provide, but also protect anyone that needs protecting. If you're someone who's weak, who's being bullied, stuff, step in and say, "Oh, this ain't happening." Do you know what I mean? That kind of person. But I also believe a man takes accountability, responsibility for his actions. You're never going to be perfect. When you do something wrong, recognize you've done something wrong, correct it, ask for forgiveness if you got to. Don't be prideful in that situation. But also you got to be able to, I suppose, you know, you got to be that leader at times as well, you know, within your family or your circle. You know, I just feel like, what is a man nowadays? I think a lot of young men are probably struggling with that right now, and that's causing them their mental health. Like, what do I do in this world now?
It's confusing times.
I'm hearing this guy over here, this crazy alpha male over here telling me I got to be this, I got to be that. It'll be some hard case. Then I've got these people over here telling me I should be more vulnerable and cry and give into my emotions. And you got Cypher now on his podcast telling you, well, actually, you just need to be a protector. You need to be a provider. You just need to be a guy with strong morals, know the difference between right and wrong, and act on the right things all the time. You know, you're going to make mistakes, recognize those mistakes, fix those mistakes, and learn as you go along with your journey. But also, more importantly, give yourself purpose. Yeah, find a purpose for yourself. Can I say I fully found a purpose for myself in my life? Probably not. Maybe that's why I've struggled so much with my mental health battles, because I still haven't found that. But do the right things, work out, do the positive things, you know, don't get involved in gang life and all that sort of stuff for these young men, young boys who are trying to grow up and be men. So there's a lot of societal pressures that come with it as well. And now what women expect from you, and now people are telling you, well, which is true to a degree, like a man has to bring some sort of worth to society, you know. So that puts more pressures now, but everyone's equating that to money. Is it really all to do with money? Or can you bring other things as a man, and does it always have to be money? No, it doesn't always have to be money. I don't believe money needs to be, and people are going to say that, well, because you probably haven't got any money. All right, yeah, cool. But I don't say, you could have a very rich person over here, a CEO who's all on his own, lives in a penthouse apartment, but he's not fully happy. He can buy whatever he wants, but is he really fully fulfilled? Maybe not, maybe he is. But then you might have some guy who collects rubbish every day. Do you know what I mean? He's a dustbin man. Has two or three kids at home with a loving wife. When he goes home, his day's shit, but when he goes home, it's all worth it because he's got that family. What do you consider as wealth? And I suppose it's about figuring out yourself. I mean, I don't know what you think in terms of from a societal point of view.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the people that you're surrounded by is one of the most important things for your own mental health as well. So as you were saying about the job, you could be in a shit job, but with amazing people, it ain't so bad. But you could be in an amazing job, but if you're surrounded by shit people for the whole shift, it's not a great job anymore. Yeah. So that just proves that it's not about what you do, how much you're making. It's more about the company that surrounds you and whether that's supportive and loving. Yeah. So that's definitely more important.
Yeah, I don't like. I think there's a lot of pressures on men to get it right, but I think what you need to do is find your own path as well, right? Find a structure that works for you, a positive structure. Yeah, yes, you should exercise. You don't have to be a crazy gym goer with big bad muscles, but you got to do something. You know, David Goggins says it best. Look, motherfucker, just go for a walk every day. If you don't do anything else, just go for a walk. Go for a nice hour-long walk. Do you know what I mean? Turn off the music, switch off your brain, and just go to whatever is your local park. If you live in somewhere like London, yeah, there's probably not a lot of great places to go for a walk in your local areas. Some areas, most areas are shit. But your park's probably a good place to go. Do you know what I mean? Find a spot. I remember somewhere I used to live about 10 years ago, and there used to be a nice river that was, Kew Bridge was close by. And there was a nice spot in the summer I would go sit there. I'd have like a little pub back there. And I would just go and sit on the bank of the river, because obviously the water levels will be low at that time of year. And just put a bit of Miles Davis on in my ear and just sit there chilling during sunset. And that was sit there for an hour and that felt good.
I completely agree. I think nature is such an important part.
I agree.
What's happening in society is not only are we starting to become more indoors and more closed off, and then we're glued to screens and social media platforms and all this stuff. I think if you take it back to its core of being outdoors and being in nature, looking at the water, it's a way to get you back in touch with your true self.
Do some grounding, take your shoes and socks off and walk in the grass.
Yeah, for sure.
Touch.
Yeah.
People underestimate how good that feels. To take your shoes and socks off and just walk through the grass. It feels like you're like,
I might even say that.
You feel like you're connecting to something.
Yeah.
You're connecting to nature. And people underestimate how good that is for your mental health and your health as a whole.
I think the invention of the rubber shoe is the biggest crime against humanity.
I agree.
I think that's disconnected us as a species, but also the concept that we paved off all the roads and then we force you to purchase rubber shoes so that you can now walk on these roads.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it's actually it's frowned upon, and in certain institutions, it might be even, banned to be walking around barefoot.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I was in Athens at the Acropolis, and me and my brother decided, let's take off our shoes. This is like a holy site. take off our shoots and do some grounding up at this mountain peak. And yeah, we got told off. We got told off.
For real?
We had a tour guide like proper give us a word. And then when we were like, no, where does it say we're not allowed to take off our shoes? Then the stewards came and were like, yeah, can't do that. So this idea that, you know, the most...
But why?
They were using on the basis that it's a scientific ground. It's like an archaeological site as opposed to a spiritual site. And it was just frowned upon. And they told us off. You know, they don't want that hippie shit basically. But the idea that something so natural to just be barefoot, we didn't come into this world wearing socks and shoes.
Yeah.
And we're not going to...
Well, neither did our ancestors. They ran around
barefoot. So this idea was just a wake-up call, like, yeah, this is something that's deep-rooted into society now. So I completely agree. Grounding, you know, going barefoot every now and then, especially on some nice ground.
Nice, but even if you don't do it with your feet, just go and touch a tree, and you'll feel like, I'm telling you now, you will feel something. You'll be like, what? That felt good. Like I saw recently, you know, Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
In the build-up to his fight. You know, they do like the build-up episodes behind the scenes.
Yeah.
The dude did a cold shower. He's up in the mountains somewhere, snowy mountains somewhere. He's had an ice bath to start his day off, his training day off. And he gets up, he's in his robe, and he goes up and he hugs a tree and he goes, I love you. And he's like talking to the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he goes, yeah, like that, and kisses. And I thought, smart man. Yeah, because he's touching and he's like, oh, that feels great. Let's exchange energy. Yeah, and people, we're not going too deep into this stuff, but like, because I don't want to get off track. We can talk about this forever. Yeah, we've got to stay on track. But yeah, look, there's loads of things you can do. Yeah, I'm like, look, I also need to put out there, look, we are not medical professionals, yeah, right? All right, and obviously this is us just giving our opinion and our experiences of our lives of what we're doing, yeah? Okay, just remember that, yeah? We're not docs or anything like that. Yeah? This is us saying what we agree with and what we disagree with when it comes to men's mental health and mental health in general. Mm-hmm. Yeah? To turn around and say, like, remember, we're not the doctors. You're free to do whatever you want. But this is our opinion or based on what we see in our own experiences we're talking about here. We just need to I need to make that clear as well. All right? But on my opinion of my life and what I've been through, I don't agree that taking a pill or even seeing a therapist or your GP is the answer. There are things you can do and you need to try those things first. Okay,
so to bring it back on topic then, what are your main points for the people listening that are
let's get to final thoughts and conclusions because we're almost at that hour mark. But final thoughts and conclusion is what we've been saying all along is face into your fears. Yeah, you got to tell yourself every day, right? You even like what do they call it? When you talk to yourself and you stand in front of a mirror, Goggins says it all the time. There's a word for it. And telling yourself, I'm strong, I'm confident, I can do this, I can beat this. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Talking to yourself and letting yourself know that, you know what, telling your brain,
you are what you think, and that's like an ancient
try and give that positive
knowledge
thought process going in your brain. But you need to start doing things like working out, whether it is you go for a walk every day, or whether you start with a 2 kg set of dumbbells, and just do some 20-minute quick workouts, then build into bigger ones, and suddenly you become an addict at it. Eat right, sleep right, meditation, Don't be afraid to turn off your phone. Don't be afraid to turn off the TV. If anything, do that, because that's going to make your mental health situation even worse, because it has an effect on you. You know, what you consume will affect your mindset as well. Get into things like reading, do you know what I mean? Grounding, all these things that we talked about, not all in one go, baby steps. Problem is, a lot of people, I think they try to do all of that in one go. No, start slow. Start with a walk every day. You've done that for a month. Oh, this feels great. Oh, maybe I'll get a bicycle and go for a ride now from now on. Oh, maybe I'll start lifting some weights or join a gym. You know, oh, maybe I'll start yoga. You do it bit by bit. Do you understand? You know, before you go to bed, 2 hours or an hour before you go to bed, switch off all the screens. Read a book for an hour. Do a bit of 10-minute deep breathing, go to sleep. You get what I'm trying to say? Eat the right foods, what you're putting in your body. That's going to affect you as well. I just think before you go down this route of, let me go see my doctor straight away and let me get signed off and go see a counsellor and now let me take these pills, try all those things first. But you've got to, if you keep playing the victim and saying, I've got no control of this, I can't do anything about this. If you keep doing that, you're never going to get through it. You're never going to make through it. You're never going to see moments of happiness. And you also need to accept something, I think, yeah. Life is supposed to be fucking hard. Yeah, we live in this world where we've been programmed now and taught you should be happy all the fucking time. That is impossible. You cannot be happy all the fucking time. Life is going to be hard. Yeah, you're going to have struggles. You may have more struggles and hardships than you will see happy times. All right? I'm not saying you won't have happy times, but you need to accept that as well. That life is hard. So what am I going to put in place when I'm dealing with this hardship? I've got the weights. I've got this. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. That's what I think. Yeah, and people need to accept this. Like, people actually believe they should be happy 100% of the time of their life. That's the world I feel like we live in. I don't know about you, but that's how I see it. Is that people actually believe they should be happy 100% of the time. No. Maybe 75, 80% of the time of your life is going to be hard. It's going to be painful. Yeah. Don't shy away from it. Face into it. You know, accept that you're gonna have these moments. You know, and sometimes, I have really bad anxiety moments, and I'm not thinking clearly. I'm like panicking or whatever it might be in my head, and then I have to grab myself and say, "Breathe, dude. Breathe. It's not the end of the world. What's the worst case scenario? Oh, that's the worst case scenario. Is that likely to happen? No. So chill out. You know, and it might be something at work, for example. Yeah, and I think, I'm going to get spanked for that. I'm like, okay, so what if I do get spanked for it? Big deal. You ain't perfect. So what? Not the end of the world. You know, and you see some of these YouTubers, they go around asking older generations. You know, every older generation says, like, in their 60s, 70s, 80s and all that, is stop worrying. Yeah? Most of the shit you worry about isn't important anyway.
Doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter. Because when the time comes and you've got to leave this planet, who gives a shit? So why are you spending so much time worrying about it? Let it go. Yeah, and that's the thing, we worry about too much about the future. Yeah, or we're too focused on the past. And what you need to be is present. And people like me who suffer from mental health, or, even yourself, is the key thing I think we need to get better at is being present. Where are you right now? Stop thinking about the past. Yeah, you can't do anything about it. You can't change it. It's there. If anything, pat yourself on the back for getting through all that shit. You're still alive. You're still kicking. Yeah. Right. You're worrying about, oh my God, what if this happens? And how am I going to afford this? How am I going to afford that? Don't worry about it. Yeah. Fix what's happening presently. What's happening right now. Fix that. Once you fix that, what you're worried about in the future will also fix itself. But you're focusing on things that haven't even happened yet. And I have to do that for myself. I have to still teach myself that. Because I always say to myself, like, get back to being present, Cypher. You're thinking about fucking things that may never even transpire. And you're trying to control something that's already happened. You can't go back. You can't go, it's saying Back to the Future. Can't get in my DeLorean and go back and change it.
88 and I'm then.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm here right now, in this present. This is where I'm alive. This is where I can make things happen or change things or do things. I can't do anything about the future. By fixing this here now, that will probably sort the future issues or whatever worries you might have down the line. But stop worrying about that. And that's the bit where I need to get my head is that, no, be present.
It's only today.
Be today. It's only today, take today. Fix what's going on today. Right, then tomorrow is now. Now that's present. Right, what we want to do today? Right, we're going to get a workout in today. Yeah? Do you know what I mean? It's fix what's happening presently in your life. What you're trying to do is fix the past. You can't fix the past. It's done. Mm-hmm. It's done. You can't fix it. Yeah? And then trying to fix, problematic situations that may occur. Well, it's not even happened yet.
Tomorrow doesn't exist.
How can you put anything in place for it?
Yeah.
The best thing you could do is focus on yourself now, here in the present, and hope that whatever you do here in the present will help if anything does happen in the future. That's it. That's what I think. I don't know about you, man.
Yeah, for me, I completely agree with everything you said. I think at its core, I believe everybody can change. I think everybody can change. And I think as I touched upon earlier, there's an element of overcoming a laziness. And you have to have the desire to want to change. If you don't want to change, then you won't change. But once you truly say to yourself, I want to make those first steps of changing, then it can be very simple. One influential person that I came across in these recent years that really helped me a lot was Wim Hof. And he opened me up. He wasn't necessarily the person who came up with these ideas. These ideas are ancient Vedic, yoga teachings
researched
and stuff.
it, looked into it, found
but
it.
He was one of the pioneers that, put it onto social platforms and stuff and really made it a thing. And he got it backed by the universities and scientists. And what the Wim Hof method at its core is 3 pillars of breathing exercises, where you kind of hyperventilate and do breath holds, which triggers your whole neurological system and your mental state, and lots of benefits which you can look into.
Just before you say anything, with that particular breathing method you talk about, the hyperventilating and all that sort of stuff, guys, this isn't something, when he teaches you this, if you learn it off Wim Hof, they're literally 10-minute sessions.
10 minutes.
They're not. People think,
and it will change your life.
You don't have to sit around for an hour doing it.
Free.
It's 10
Oxygen
minutes.
is free. They can't sell you oxygen.
It's
That's
like 10
why
minutes long though, isn't it? It's
10
not
minutes.
long.
The video is 11 minutes, but he's also giving a greeting and but it's 10-minute exercise, 3 rounds, change your life. It changed my life.
Yeah.
So breathing exercises, which we can talk into more detail. Cold therapy, which can be either a cold shower or an ice bath, and it doesn't even need to take long. The effects can kick in about after 2 minutes.
If they apparently say with ice baths and stuff like that, you just need to do 11 minutes a week and it will change your mental.
It will change your life.
And help.
And then the third pillar is a well-being, whether that be exercise, meditation, a mindfulness practice. If you can do those 3 and do them religiously, as I said, look, it's a 2-minute cold shower, it's a 10-minute breath work, and it might be, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes reading a book or 5 minutes meditating, doing some exercise.
Yeah.
20 minutes a day max. Do that for 30 days. And that will change your life. It definitely changed mine. Other things I would recommend is reading a book, turning off all the screens. The screens are there to bombard you with all these dopamine hits. That's triggering brain chemistry, which we touched upon as well. But reading a book can really slow it down. Pick a good book as well, something that interests you, something that will improve your life. Imagine if you read 1 book a month. Imagine you read 1 self-help book a month. In 1 year, you've read 12 self-help books. And if that does not change your life.
Do you know what I say about reading though? Yeah, don't worry. I think people get fixated how many books they can run through. Don't worry about that. If you're even like you said, even if you're taking a month to read a book, so what?
So what?
Even if you're just doing, whether you're doing,
and that's an achievement that you've accomplished as well.
Whether you're doing a chapter a day or whether you're just doing a few pages a day, just read.
Just read a page a day, even
don't get. I think people get locked up. I have to do 2 chapters every night, and you're turning it into a task. No, just enjoyment. Just sit there, relax, read a page. And if you've read 3 or 4 pages and you think, oh, that's enough for me now, I can't read anymore, I'm losing concentration. Fine, because of the world we live in and the dopamine.
And that takes the practice of doing it.
But then 2 weeks later, you could be like, oh, I'm reading 2 chapters a night now because I'm getting into it. It's part of my routine. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So don't get lost with that and don't get discouraged because I can only read a few pages at a time.
Look, for full context, I never read a book until September 2020. I was, as I said, at school, never did my homework. My detention was full. And I almost convinced myself that I was illiterate. Obviously, I'm not. And I managed to get good grades at school, but I managed to convince myself that I couldn't read a book. Every time I read a paragraph, it would go blurry and I forget what I read and I have to read the same page over and over again and I just give up and never read a book.
I'm like that a little bit.
But September 2020, my brother set me a challenge saying, read a book. And I read a David Icke, Truth Vibrations, my first ever book. I read it in 1 week. It was only 100 pages. Read it in a week. I read it twice, back to front, read it twice. And it literally changed my life. The amount of content, information that can really sink in from a book, because you read it at a slower pace and you can really start to process it. When you watch like a 40-minute documentary and it just bombards you with information and pictures and stuff, but by next week you probably forgot most of that information. But with a book, and you really start to internalize it and you really process transferring words into images in your mind, it changed my life. And it was one of the biggest things that I can recommend people to do. Read a book. I also believe that Yeah, exercise as well is another big one, as we mentioned earlier. Cold showers.
So look. I think we touched on most of the stuff there. I think we could go on forever. Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk a lot more.
But like obviously conscious of time as well. Like we kind of wanted to keep this to an hour.
And quit the porn as well, but that's
we'll go into that.
that's probably the biggest crippling one.
We're going to leave it at that one with this because I feel like I'm sure we're going to come back to mental health at some point.
Yeah, it's going to be a recurring theme.
We're going to talk about many things.
This is just a scratch of the surface.
This is just kind of like touching into it, really.
Yep.
But look. Thanks for listening today, guys. Yeah, as always, like, share, subscribe. We're new, so please share it to friends if you like. Whether you agree or disagree or not, is a topic worth discussing and listening to. Obviously, our next episode 3, we are planning to talk about porn addiction and the connection to men's mental health. Yeah, because that is a serious problem as well. That's starting to grow out of control, and we'll talk about how it affects men's mental health, also our own experience with porn addiction. So it'll be interesting what comes out of that conversation. But like I said, until next time, like, share, and subscribe. I'm Cypher.
I'm Trebel.
And we're out.
Peace out.